Welcome to another episode of our Footy Fantasy podcast. Um, Before I jump in, so we are getting towards the end of the season for sure, and especially in the English Premier League and European League. So I think we've got into what we call squeaky bum time. So we have to bring some of our people back to talk about some of the interesting things. Dayo, thanks for coming, as always.
Yeah.
EeJay, Arsenal is bouncing. Can see EeJay came with the big Arsenal energy here.
Yes, correct.
Ola, thanks for coming.
Champion, eh?
Champions, limping over the
Derek.
line. Limping over the line, but still champions. It's okay.
No, they're not living over the line.
I had to say that. So before we go into the topics, we have to do our admin like we always do. Tell you guys where you can find us. You can find us on Twitter. If Twitter is your thing, at Footy AD Fantasy, and it's to be, I think, at the bottom of the page on top of the video when it comes out. You can find the full version of the video on YouTube at Footy Fantasy. It's 2 words. You can find audio versions, the podcast are your thing, anywhere you find your podcast, specifically things like Spotify, Apple Podcasts. It's called the Footy Fantasy, FOOTIE Fantasy, all one word, podcast. You can also find us on Instagram. We also put in the sneak previews on there. It's called Fantasy Footy, all one word. Remember, it's FOOTIE. We also have a Facebook page called Extraordinary Footy Fans. So our topics for today are interesting. We'll start off with the Man City ban that was overturned recently. That kind of changed the dynamics of top 4 and UCL qualification in the English Premier League. After that, we will rank this Liverpool team as winners in the all-time English Premier League winners. Where do they rank? All of us will also give our top 5 English Premier League winners. And we also end with the top 6 predictions and relegations predictions, which looks like we'll go to the last day for both sets for top 6, specifically the 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th position and the relegation battle. Looks like it might go to the last day because of the results that have happened so far this weekend. I think it would be a good place to start with Mr. Pep. I like to call him Mr. Pep. I've never seen someone like the manager so much, almost more than he likes his team.
There are several people who go by the name already.
That's true. Yeah, that's true. Okay, so
Okay.
Dayo, what are your thoughts? Okay, let me give a background to our listeners. I'm sure everybody has heard this, but just let me give a quick background. So financial fair play was brought in a couple of years ago to initially help teams. Did you say something?
No.
Okay, brought it a couple of years ago to help teams from going to bankruptcy, help them manage their club, and also create a fair play, find the balance of teams that they can match the revenue they bring in, which how much they spend to outlay. So recently, City were banned. I think a couple of months ago they were banned. They had a 2-year ban for not declaring all their sponsorship money, and this was overturned on this past Monday, because instead it was downgraded to a $10 million fine. And they said, if I remember correctly, that even though they did wrongdoing, they were only banned because they didn't cooperate appropriately. So, Dayo, what are your thoughts about 1, the City decision, then 2, financial fair play as a whole, the purpose of it?
I like how you broke it down into those 2.
Yeah.
So the City decision, I think they got away on a technicality. The argument was that, you got some of those facts, but they were not time bound again. They have maybe statute of limitation type of sort that you can no longer use it against us. Because though City was, we cannot say City was innocent, because what is the 10 million fine for? Because you cannot say you were innocent and I'm still fining you. What am I fining you for? And I think City too cannot argue that they were innocent, because they took the fine. If you are totally innocent, you fight against the fine as well. So because they went to argue that, it's not time bound, it's not within the statute again, and you cannot use evidence of things that happened before 2014 against us. So they are not arguing that they are not guilty, but what I did is beyond the time frame we're looking at. So that's City's argument, and it's won in the court. and that's what that matters. And that's one thing. So, is City guilty? Yes. That's why they're paying a 10 million fine. The other topic about financial fair play, I have a totally different opinion about it.
Okay.
I think financial fair play, personally, I just think it's a way to preserve the old boys association, to make nobody else come into the league of old boys. Because realistically, tell me, how will a club like Sheffield become a big club? It's not possible if you don't have external funding. Because someone will tell me, okay, get a group of young players, play them together, and you know how that works. Okay, for Sheffield, if you get a group of young players, 18-year-old Messi's, 16-year-old Messi's, they need like 4 or 5 years to play together to win anything. Will all the vultures leave them alone for 5 years?
Hell no, absolutely
So
not.
if they don't leave them alone for 5 years, so hypothetically Sheffield has 13 Messi's playing for them. When they're 17, 18, they pluck all of them away. Sheffield go back to where they're from. So they will never get there. And if you look at the history of the Premier League specifically, the only reason why we have different winners, without external money, there will be no Blackburn because they won with external money. There will be no Chelsea because they won with external money. There will be no Man City because they won with external money. So we can say in the history of the Premier League since 1990, or when did it start, 92? Probably we have only Man U. One of the few times Man U is bored, Arsenal will get to win. Leicester will win one, and Liverpool will win in 2020. So that's all it will come to. So it's against competition. We cannot really, it will start getting stale at some point in time, because all the big boys will not want to lose their advantage, which they built. Some of them built the same way they are criticizing. A club like AC Milan was in relegation in 1986.
Correct.
10 years later, they've made 5 CL finals. How did that happen? Because Berlusconi gave them money.
Yeah.
Berlusconi gave them private money. So they were able to, a club like AC is just like a club coming from Division 2 right now, Leeds United. In the next 5 years, in the next 10 years, Leeds United has made 5 Champions League finals. They can go to PSG, buy Mbappe. So, but now AC Milan has done that and put a barrier. Like, okay, we have done that, but the rest of you cannot come in again. What about Real Madrid? In 2000, before Real Madrid started their Galactico, the city of Madrid bought Real Madrid training complex for twice the value.
Correct.
And they loaned it back to them. Is that not financial fair play? Is that not a sugar daddy right there?
That's financial doping. Yep.
So that's financial doping. They overvalue the asset, and they sold it back to them. Another way, all these other clubs have a way of circumventing financial fair play. Look at the deal between, it happens, it's just accounting, creative accounting. Look at the deal between Barcelona and Juventus. Everybody knows that Otto is not worth 70 million. Everybody knows that Pjanic is not worth 40 million. What both of them decided was this: the difference between the value of Pjanic and the value of Arthur is, let's say, 20 million.
Yeah.
So you can as well call it 100 million in your book and pay me back 80 million, or you can call it 30 million and 10 million. All we know is that we want a differential of 20 million. The same thing Man City did with Danilo and who is this guy?
Cancelo.
Yeah, Cancelo is not worth 70 million that they put him on. The same thing, Danilo that has been sitting on the bench all his life, suddenly worth 50 million. Of course, everybody was just being creative about it. But okay, in their book, they'll say, oh, I made transfer income of 100 million.
Correct.
So they'll still get around it. So that's my own opinion for now.
Okay. All great opinions. I see that Ola is, is moving.
I'm moving.
It's orange. Since you are getting moved by the spirit, Ola, please come and give us your own sermon for today.
I'm moving because Dayo has spoken well, yeah, and I can see some of the points he's saying, but the main issue for me is he mentioned 2 examples like AC Milan. Yeah, AC Milan is a big club, but did they get punished by UEFA recently, a few years ago, for breaking financial? Is it AC Milan or Inter Milan? One of those teams got punished.
Inter.
Inter, was it Inter?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and Inter to have won the Champions League like 2 or 3 times. So they've been punished. So I don't think it's vindictive. Well, it's not vindictive. The way some people are saying that FFP is to punish the smaller clubs and stopping them from migrating into the big boys league. I don't agree with that. But I'll tackle one thing first. You also mentioned Leeds United, which is a classic example of why FFP came into play. Now, people are not saying don't spend. FFP is not saying don't spend. Spend within your means. The problem with the European leagues, why FFP came in, like I also mentioned in introduction, there was massive debt in many European leagues, in European clubs. Many of them were suffering from massive debt. And why were they suffering from massive debt? They were spending beyond their means. They were spending money that they didn't have. Leeds United suffered from that. Do you know how many years it took them to get back? 16 years. They had to go all the way down to League One because they were overspending money that they did not have. So FFP came in and said, okay, look, you guys, we're going to give you a leeway. You can spend a little more than you're making so that at least your financial health will be in good order. So they've done that. And now there's an article on Guardian that I posted recently. Within 6 years of FFP, for the first time in 6 years, all the top clubs in European leagues have declared an operating profit of 650 million pounds, 650 million euros. They are all declaring profits now. Even Liverpool were declared profit. Even we suffered from this nonsense. 2010, Liverpool were almost going into administration because the owners that we had borrowed money that they didn't have, and then they're defaulting on the loans, and then the bank wanted their money back. And we almost went into administration. Thankfully, last minute, the court ruled against them. Liverpool, which would have gone like Leeds United. There are many clubs like that. There are clubs this season that have disappeared, that have gone under. That have just gone under because they couldn't manage their finances. Correct. Now, that's the overall. Wigan, yes. Wigan minus 12. Even before Wigan, there was another club that went, I think it's Bury, Bury. England, they went under. There are many clubs. Don't let's focus on the big boys are not being allowed. They're not allowing. The overall picture is the financial health of European clubs was terrible. And just go and look at the numbers now. Because of financial fair play, now you can be creative which way you like. That's why I agree with Dayo. You can be creative and start doing maybe shifty things to try and abide by the rules. As long as you're abiding by the rules, man, I don't have any problem with that. If Man City wants to spend 200 million, but they have a 200 million contract from somebody sponsoring them, just spend within your means. That's what I'm saying. Don't break the rules. When you're breaking the rules, then you should get punished. And you ever been punishing not just the small clubs, they've been punishing big clubs too. Like I mentioned, it's Inter Milan or AC Milan. They punished them. Even Liverpool got investigated for FFP. So it's not only like, it's just Liverpool got investigated but got cleared a few years ago because they were like, you guys are spending. What are you spending? So is Liverpool not in the elite league? So it's not only about, the big boys don't want the small clubs to come in. Before Man City even got into the big money, they too suffered it. They had a minister from Thailand who had the club and saddled them with a lot of debt. Exactly. He saddled them with a lot of debt. And they too almost went on that. They suffered because of that. Before and financial fair play started, go and look at it. They started talking about it in 2008, even before the Sheiks came in. So it's not like the FFP is just stopping Man City from trying to. They were already talking about financial fair play even before the Sheiks bought Man City. So I don't think it's a vindictive tool. I think it's a tool to help clubs spend within their means so that they don't go under. Because that's the general thing. It's not only about the top level, even at the smaller level, the lower levels, clubs just spend anyhow. And the reason why the problem with Man City the main problem with Man City is when they are spending, it's more like it's a shortcut. You're saying small clubs can grow organically. Some of them can. Some of them come back and generate. Look at like Sheffield United, like I said. Now, if Sheffield United make Europa League next season, they make more money for going to Europa League. They can retain some of their players that way. It's true, some of their players will get bought, but at least they have a foot in the door. Wolves too. Wolves, they made the Europa League. Jimenez has not been bought. Jota has not been bought. He has been there 2-3 years. Some of them came from the Championship. They managed to retain their players. You can grow if you are patient enough. You can grow. Look at Liverpool from the time when we almost entered administration. It's not like these American owners are billionaires who are dashing us money. They have to grow our revenue streams. They have to grow our revenue streams so that we could buy players. We're still losing players up to 2018. Coutinho left. We're still losing players. So it's possible for teams without spending crazy money. Because what happens is when the likes of the Man City start spending crazy money, then the transfer prices go up, and then other clubs will now have to buy players at an inflated rate. And then problem again. So in my opinion, financial fair play, look at the bigger picture. Don't let's just say, it's stopping bigger clubs. The bigger clubs are stopping this one from. The bigger picture is clubs are now operating at profit because of financial fair play. And if that wasn't there, people will be spending beyond their means and we'll be having clubs who will just be going under. And that's my own point.
Okay. Oh, for sure. All fair points. EeJay.
Okay, well, I have to say, you guys know way more about financial fair play than I do. I had to look up a few things, but what I understood with what happened to City is that there was, like Dayo said, there was a technicality with the emails that were released. And I thought that was why they kind of got, taken out of court. But, that's fine. And then the fine, they said the fine was because of obstruction of, the investigation, like Ayo said. So I can see where, yes, they may be guilty, but they got up on the technicality and they had to pay a fine. But I don't know where what's the guilty verdict? Like, was it that they spent too much money? They lied and said that the money came from sponsorship, but it was really their owners injecting the money. I think, was that what happened? Either way.
That's part of it, yeah.
Okay, so financial fair play, like you're saying that financial FFP is designed to keep clubs afloat, right? Keep them from spending more money than they make so they don't go into like a deficit, lose the money, and then go under. But all these fines that we've seen lately, okay, they fined Chelsea. Chelsea's fine was a financial FFP fine, right? The one that happened recently where they were not allowed to
transfer ban. That was a transfer
ban. Was it related to FFP or no?
No. It was, I think they registered players. They were not. I think
it was U team.
16-year-old. Yeah.
Okay, so that had nothing to do with FFP.
No.
So, is there any other English team that has been investigated for FFP recently in the last 5 or 6 years, and that has received a ban or some kind of removal? Okay, so this is the first case that we're looking at.
Correct.
In a while.
English
okay.
team. Yes.
Liverpool got investigated but got cleared like a few years ago, like 5 years ago or something like that.
Okay. All right. So my question is this: like, if they are, I mean, I'm okay with FFP. I guess I don't understand the question. Is that we try to eliminate FFP or reduce their role or stop them from finding people, or are we saying that their role is, as an investigational body, is like they're corrupt? Like, what are we trying to say?
So Go ahead, Ola. Go ahead.
Okay, sorry, I just quickly jump in. What I think the main point people are thinking is financial fair play is being used as a vindictive tool, as in to stop the clubs that are rich, that have the rich owners from crashing into the very top. That's what some people are saying. And then some people are also saying that financial fair play is useless. That it's not like, look at Man City. Basically, Man City got away scot-free. They're paying 10 million is chicken change. And then some people are saying it is useful, but maybe it needs to be tweaked. Like for me, I don't see it as a vindictive tool. What I see it as is, let's get one thing clear. UEFA actually relaxing financial fair play for next season. So if people are saying that, this thing is supposed to be like to stop other clubs from rising into the elite, actually UEFA are saying that next season, because of this coronavirus, with revenue streams dropping, like, okay, we are going to relax it a bit next season. That's for everybody, not just for some specific clubs. Next season is going to be relaxed.
But they're going to they will relax it for next season, and they will defer it.
Yeah.
Okay.
For like 2-3 seasons. So so technically they are not really relaxing, but just for this period. But they will not defer it. Like this is your window to buy players. So if you can't,
Ayo,
you don't buy players. Okay.
Let me ask. If they are relaxing it, that means they're saying, okay, for next season, you don't have to spend the money you earn.
Correct.
You can. So what does that mean? So you can spend more than what you're earning. That means you can. Okay, so you can go do a shake deal for 1 or 2 years, but after 2 years, don't do any shake deal anymore.
But this was going to happen. They're saying after those 2 years, right, the deficit or the value is going to be front loaded back. So pretty much a lot of teams that spend a lot within this period below their means, those amounts they'll capture it and they'll kind of be on a transfer ban on years later. Pretty much like this 2-year window. Anytime after this 2-year window, if you have overspent for the next couple of years, you cannot spend again until you make enough money to net that value that you've overspent. That's what they're saying.
I think personally, like if a team, my thing is this: if you have rich owners that can afford it, I don't know why there is and I say this as an Arsenal fan who, I heard my own coach.
You have a
He
local
hates.
FFP in your
Yes,
place.
yes. We understand, and our coach, our former coach, was very, very vocal about the idea of rich owners injecting money into their clubs. But if two things are happening, one, you're trying to cut profits for being, missed, basically, and then you're stopping these clubs that have rich owners from going haywire. I don't see why the clubs that have rich owners can't inject money into their clubs.
That's the thing people don't get. They are not saying don't spend. They are saying spend within your means. So if you want to do creative accounting, like Dayo said, do your creative accounting. No, like Silent Stan. If Kroenke has billions and wants to spend 1 billion, as long as you can manipulate and say, okay, look, we're actually making 1 billion in revenue, so we want to spend 1 billion. Do it that way, but don't go.
Okay with manipulation, but not with outright.
Exactly. So what are we saying?
So what's
exactly. That's what I'm trying to say. Look at it, for example.
As long as you're not putting debt on your club and making clubs at a risk of going under, that's fine by me. That's what I'm saying. Because clubs go under because they spend beyond their means. And if you're saying people should continue spending beyond their means, it's going to inflate prices in the market. And then other clubs will now have to pay to also buy players. That's what I mean.
Okay, Ola, let's do an example of how a FFPOE or creative accounting will come in. Etihad Group. Sheikh will not come as a person. He will come as an entity called Etihad Group. Right. Etihad Group will have Man City as one of their other companies. Etihad Group will tell Man City to put their name on their shirt. While Man U or every other person is putting Fly Emirates for 50 million a year, Etihad Group will say, okay, the value of Man City putting Etihad on our shirt is worth 200 million. How do you go to meet Etihad Group that, okay, the value of your sponsorship is not a fair market value?
No, exactly. I'm not disputing that part. I've said I agree with you when it comes to creative marketing, creative accounting. If you want to do your creative accounting, put your money in. I'm not saying don't spend money, but don't spend beyond your means. If the owner wants to put 100 million and says, look, this sponsorship deal is worth 100 million, as long as you're not breaking any rules, UEFA don't have the rights to say, oh, this sponsorship deal is not worth so much. That's why I don't think that's why Man City got taken to court. Man City got taken to court because they went way. I think they were not supposed to go beyond 50 million, and they went to like 140 million in operating losses. Go and read it. They went to 140 million in operating losses, and then they tried to disguise it. And then UEFA said, oh yeah, let's investigate. They now started obstructing UEFA from investigating that. That was some years ago. This is not recently. This is before Pep. Correct. That's why they eventually went to court. So it's not because, oh, these people, they don't want you to spend within your means. If you're saying, oh, I have 200 million in revenue and I want to spend that 200 million, that's fine with me. As long as you're not loading clubs with debt. And then eventually when it's now bust, it will affect so many people. Clubs will now go under.
Okay. Just to wrap it up, I think we spent enough time on this. What we do on that episode, I was strictly for FFP. Just to wrap it up, in my opinion, I think there are two views to it. There's the one view of what Ola is mentioning, that UEFA are concerned more about clubs staying afloat, it's not spending beyond their means, and I think there's also a fan opinion. I'm looking at it from pure sports washing, right? Financial doping, sports washing, the means to which the Etihad people have their money, how they get their money due to all the labor crimes in UAE. It's the Saudi Arabia, they're trying to buy Newcastle. That's just a different level, but kind of related. I think there are two views where people see it. A lot of people that's causing all this outcry see that's the means of where all this money is coming from. Like, oh, how can somebody, putting all this money into clubs? They should block the Newcastle, debating it to be block the Newcastle buyout because of where the money is coming from and all of that. I agree with both sides. I just think UEFA, the way it has gone on for the last 10, 15 years, when they monetize everything, which is good, but they monetize to the level where the minute they scrap Copenhagen Cup and merged everything to Europa Cup and put so much money on the fact that getting top four from one of the big leagues costs so much money, financial implications. They've tied it to sponsors. Well, they didn't tie it. Sponsors have gone ahead to now tie their sponsorships to those qualifications. It has literally made the lower cup competitions like Europa, the domestic cup competitions in all the other leagues, that's made them pretty much irrelevant now. because everybody knows now that top four is pretty much. And I know Wenger's harped on this a lot of times, but everything Wenger predicted 7, 8 years ago has now come to the fore. Where top four now is literally a trophy. I mean, we kind of saw it in today's game now. In Man United having top four on the line and say, "Whoa, we're arresting people." I don't care. I care more about top four. So in my opinion, I just think this was kind of coming, which from UEFA's point of view, and maybe they should find a way to tweak some things in FFP. I'm all for FFP. I don't like seeing clubs going on that. I like seeing clubs stay afloat. But I also think there should be precedence on what is wrong and what is not wrong. And if they're going to allow accounting, as Dayo put it, they're going to allow financial accounting or smart financial accounting. Creative accounting. If they're going to allow creative accounting for existing clubs who already have like rich owners, I think they should allow creative accounting for clubs who are like Newcastle, who are trying to get purchased also by rich owners. Those are my thoughts, and there should be, if you are going to create boundaries everywhere. If you care about the means at which it's coming, they should have cared about this 8 years ago when all this started. The means when City was getting bought, when Everton, when all these clubs were getting bought, all this money, they should have cared about it back then, in my opinion. So
I agree with you a lot because another aspect is some owners, they buy clubs for profit.
Yeah.
Some owners don't buy for profit; they buy for politics.
Yeah.
Like if you have a handless, I don't want to offend anybody, but let's say people like Qatar, they probably are buying it more for politics than for profit. They don't mind spending to push the image of the country.
Yeah.
Like the Arsenal owner is probably thinking about profit.
Sure.
Like, oh, I need to make money, so I don't care about. So I can, if I give you 100 million, how soon can I get my 100 million back? Same with the Liverpool owners, the
Manchester United owners.
they want to make their money back. So, but some are just doing it to. If I have excess money, I want to do it as a form of CSR to promote my community, to promote my country, like the owner of SAP did for Offenheim, like the owner of Red Bull did for Leipzig.
Yeah.
Someone just bought Hertha Berlin now to promote his own hometown club. But some are doing it for profit. And one thing about FFP too is this: if you let the corporate vultures come into it, they will buy a club like Man U, or buy them actually, pump some money into them, make them go up, then take out your money, borrow money using Man U as a collateral, and you sell and just dump the club. So that's
what Glazers did. Kind of what Glazers did. Yeah.
That's what the Glazers did. Yeah. That's basically what the Glazers did.
Okay, so now we jump off from FFP and we go to a very interesting topic that's causing a lot of social media battles right now. And we'll start with the reigning champion, right? We can call it reigning champion. The reigning champion.
The champions of everything.
Current
champions of everything.
Current champions, right? Current champions.
Asterix champion.
Champions of everything.
the COVID-19 champions. So.
I take it. As long as that word champion is there, as long as champion is there.
So Ola, rank your team in the all-time. If you have to do an all-time EPL team, 1, rank Liverpool. 2, give us your top 5.
Well, I have to do the ranking because if I'm doing the top 5, then I'll do top 5 and then I'll tell you where Liverpool rank.
All right. Okay. You can do that way.
For me, I'll put Man City's Centurions number 1.
Oh wow, interesting.
Yeah, I'm surprised actually.
No. EeJay will remember. That's why I said EeJay will be happy to comment on this. EeJay will remember. I've said it before. I've said it. Going unbeaten for me it's a good achievement. Yeah. Winning the highest number of points for me, that shows you're the best team.
It's consistent.
100 points. That means they won 32 matches out of 38 games. That's a very high percentage of wins. So Centurions number 1 for me, 100 points. I'll put Arsenal Invincibles number 2 because yes, they still went unbeaten. I know they got only 90 points, but I think they also suffered a bit from what Liverpool are suffering from now. Arsenal wrapped up that league, I think 4 games to go or 3 games to go. So they drew some games towards the end, probably because they had won the league already. So, and they went unbeaten. Nobody else has done it. So they're number 2 for me. Number 3 will be Chelsea, 04-05. Mourinho, 95 points. That season, they lost only one game, conceded 15 goals. Unbeatable record. They've conceded only 15 goals in 38 games. They had 24 clean sheets. That team was a machine. For me, they're number 3. Then I'll put Liverpool number 4. Liverpool this season, number 4. Now, the reason why I won't put them higher is because they are 93 points. So the season is not over. If they get 99 points, I'll put them ahead of Chelsea 04-05. And the reason why is if they get 99 points, that means they won 32 games out of 38, 32 out of 38, which is the percentage win. If you are winning that number of games, nobody can be arguing with you now. That means you smashed everybody, or almost everybody all season. So, but I'll put them number 4 because the season is not over. They are 93. The highest they can get is 99. Man United 08-09. Yes, they are number 5 on my list. That was yes, 08-09. They got 90 points that season. I think they lost 4 times, but it's not because number of losses. It's the fact that was the team that had Berbatov, Tevez, Rooney, Ronaldo. And Ronaldo that season scored 42 goals. And then they have Vidic, Ferdinand at the back, Evra. They got to the Champions League final the year before. Now, I'm basing all this on the Premier League. I'm not counting all the other trophies those teams might have won because this question is about Premier League. So before some people start adding treble winners and before some people start adding some other shady things, this question is about Premier League. So that's why I'm basing it. So my top 5, Man City Centurions, Invincibles number 2, Mourinho's Chelsea 04-05. The winning machine, Liverpool number 4, then United 08-09, the United of Ronaldo, Tevez, Berbatov, Rooney. That was a fantastic team, but they got only 90 points. So sorry, they're not higher than number 5 on my list. Oh yeah.
Okay.
I'm impressed.
Interesting. Dayo, I want to go last. I'm coming in with my different ideology about this. Go ahead.
With Ola's statement right now, I think it took a lot of fire out of me because I was thinking I was going to rate Liverpool first so I can destroy him totally. Okay. If I'm going to go, I will say the first thing I have to say is I'm totally disappointed in Liverpool after winning the league. I expected so much of them. I expected them to break all the records, get more than 100 points, but I expected so much of them, but I think based on 4 or 5 weeks ago, if you had asked me this question, Liverpool, based on my expectation, would have been number 1, but they're not going to break the 100 points record, so Man City will be number 1. Number 2 for me will be Arsenal. My number 3 will be Leicester. The reason why it's Leicester is because
even EeJay told that face.
Go on.
It's opinion based. That's why I love this opinion based. Go ahead.
Leicester, every other team we are listing here, they were favorites, or maybe at least top 3 favorites.
Right, yeah.
Leicester barely escaped relegation the previous season. Whichever way they won, even if they won by 50 points, they won a league title. They were coming from relegation to winning the league title. That is how
unheard of.
Yeah, it's impossible. Never happened again.
Yeah. Yep. So then number 4 will be Liverpool 2020, and number 5 will be Mourinho Chelsea. None of the Man U teams.
Good man. Thumbs up.
None of the Man U teams, because the Man U teams.
Dayo, I'm never inviting you to this podcast. Just that.
None of the Man U teams, because
I even tried. I put one Man United team there. I tried now.
Yeah. None of the Man U teams, because none of the Man U teams, they got their rep from what they did in Europe. How many of them made 90 points? Now 90 points is Conte made 90 points. Mourinho made 90 points. Klopp is making 90 points 2 times. Pep made 90 points 2 times. So 90 points, and Man U barely made 90 points. That's even if I'm not sure, maybe they made it once.
They did in 08-09, they got 90 points.
Yeah, so they compensated for it in Europe by winning the Champions League. Same thing in '99, they won the treble. But if we are talking strictly EPL, I don't see how the argument you want to make for any Man U team.
Okay. I'll just jump in right there real quick. Why it's hot?
EeJay,
do you have any comments? Okay, I
have one comment because this is interesting. I do have to say, as the only Arsenal fan here, I'm sorry. I get all your points about number of points being you guys' benchmark, but I don't think it may be the Arsenal fan in me. I don't know if I can really say that because you got 100 points meant that you were dominant in the league. I mean, I get it, but not losing the game, golden trophy, that's number one. So to me, that number one spot is just like, because it's not been replicated in the entire. You guys were. I don't care. I don't care. Like, means that you didn't lose. Like, you had, like, they're up. And remember, I mean, it's not like we were always like leading. We are coming from behind. You know, we're digging in our heels. Like, that's why it's not been done again. Like, it's just not been repeated since then. So I think that, and I'll be kinder to your team than you are. I think, did you put your team third or fourth?
Fourth.
Okay. So I think they're third. Like, and the reason I say this is because you guys won the league with how many games left?
7 games to go. That's the problem. 7
You won
Those boys have
games.
been partying. They've been partying.
Yeah,
Yes. So if you had stopped playing and just gone home from there, you're like 7 games. That's PSG stuff. To me, like you put the league behind and moved on. So I'll be kinder to you than to your team that you are. The reason I put City ahead of you is because that was pure, like, nobody knew that City would ever be beaten again. Like, and they won 2 titles back to back, and that was because you guys were neck and neck to the end of the season last year. So I do put them ahead, and I put you guys after. And no one will ever pay me to say Leicester's name as part of the top 5 teams. I think I don't know what was going on that season. I've said it before, and I'll say it again. That was the other teams dropping off. That, like when Bushi said it last podcast, saying that Manchester City dropped off so you guys could win. I disagreed with that. But last time when Leicester won, other teams dropped off. The only team that didn't drop off was Arsenal, because we looked normal. Like, we did our normal job that year. The rest of y'all dropped off, and then Leicester, I mean, they played, they won games. It's not like they were losing. They won all their games. They lost only 3 games. So that was a good team. But it was just weird. So I can't include that.
That's an aberration.
Yeah,
exactly.
but even if you're saying, okay, 5 teams dropped off, you'd be expecting maybe an Everton to win, not Leicester.
Spurs should have won that year. Spurs should have
what
won.
they usually do.
That was Spurs, yeah. Spurs should have won that year.
All teams did what they usually do. Like, the only team that didn't do what they usually do was United didn't play well. Chelsea, where was Chelsea? I think they finished
10th. That was when they finished 10th.
Yeah, that was when they finished 10th. City, I saw City lose to Leicester like 4-0. No, those things don't happen. Like, we're watching them do that. It was so unusual. But it was a good year, a fun year, but it won't happen again. So, United, I'm sorry. I'll let you guys tell me which United team deserves to be inside.
So I'm going to start now. Let me start my own. Yes, I said greatest EPL team, but for my own, this is my opinion, and you can call me biased, that's okay. Because this team dominated locally, won the FA Cup, won the English Premier League. Yes, the point tally was low. That's fine. Because it's hard to compare eras if you want to see that. But they dominated, and they also told you that we're going to dominate here. We're going to also dominate in Europe. Alongside, the 99 treble team is number 1 for me. I'm sorry. Because that team had a lot of resilience. That team came back, and all questions they were asked. And this is my opinion. Yes, all of you had your time. I let you sing. It's time for me to sing my own praises.
That
team answered every question that was asked them. Every question. Came back from behind to beat Liverpool in the FA Cup. Came back from behind to beat Arsenal with a 1-man down. Came back from behind to beat Bayern. Like, they answered on the last day. They were this close to almost losing it. Came back from behind to win the league on the final day. Came back against Juve, going 2-0 down. Oh man, that team, just for resilience and having that mentality, right? I know your manager likes to use mentality monster. I roll my eyes anytime he says that thing. But the real mentality monster was that Fergie 1990 because that team wasn't as talented as like all the teams they beat. It wasn't as talented as the Juve team, it wasn't as talented as the Inter team, it wasn't as talented as the Bayern team, but they answered every question all through and won 3 trophies. I mean, do you know how difficult that is to win?
Liverpool in 2001 3 trophies, and Liverpool in 2001 did not lose any cup game. We answered all the questions we faced in 2001.
This is the main trophy. I tell you of Champions League, the big years.
That's 3 trophies.
But unfortunately, Ola, you're answering a question that is not on the paper.
Why is he adding Champions League and
exactly?
EPL? He said EPL team.
So that's my number 1 team. My number 2 team is the team that had Cristiano. I was going to call it that, but it wasn't 08-09 that Cristiano scored 42 and with 90 points. That was 07-08. The 07-08 team that Cristiano scored 42. What footballer of the year?
08-09. Ayo, check it. 08-09.
I'm a United fan. Trust me.
That was the season he left now.
This was the season he left. The season he left scored 20-something goals. The season before, he scored 42 goals. Trust me, I know this team. I know this very, very well. He scored 42 goals.
Don't worry, we'll check. Keep going.
This was when I was the peak of my power.
It was in the Champions League winning team winning season.
Yeah,
scored 42. The following season, he dropped a little bit.
He had injuries.
Then the next one, then he left Madrid.
Yep. So that team, in my opinion, is the best United team ever. Better than the 1990. The only difference is that 1990 just had that mentality. So they come number 2 for me because no English team has been able to do it till now. Win the league and Champions League in the same season. It was only the Manchester United team that's done it. So because of that, they are number 2 because they answered all the questions in Europe and locally that we are not just dominant here. We can go and play against any European team, adjust to any style, and still dominate. So that's why they are my number 2. Moving on. No, I don't want any comments. Number 3 is Man City Centurions. Yes, I give it to them. 100 points. Now you can start using data. They did that 100 points is amazing. They did it. That team was good. I mean, the kind of football they play. They probably, in my opinion, played the best football. Let me rephrase that because I don't like saying that anymore. They've played the best football from the type of football I like to see. Best style of football I like to see from the kind of person I am that I've watched in my life. That year they won. They were tearing teams apart with attacking football. The next one is Mourinho, the man I love to hate. Jose Mourinho's team, 04-05. Yeah, like Ola said, I agree. The machines. That team was just SCN, Drogba, Dog. They could beat you anywhere. They beat you corner kicks. They beat you free kicks. They beat you penalty. They beat you counter attack. They beat you just anything you want. They do it. That team was a machine. Then number 5. It's a tough one for me between the Invincibles and Liverpool team. And because of my criteria, I have a criteria I'm using. I'll give it to Arsenal. I give it to Arsenal not because of the Invincibles matters a little bit. Yeah, they didn't lose a game. That's fine. Okay, yeah, sure. But they had 12 draws. But why I give them above Liverpool is because of one thing. Arsenal came close that season. They got to quarterfinal of Champions League that season, and they got to semi-final of FA Cup. They could have won the FA Cup if they did not meet, the showstoppers. The guys that always shot, we stopped the show anytime we play people. So we stopped Arsenal.
What happened today?
No, we're not talking about today. We're talking about historically.
What happened to the showstoppers today?
Anytime someone thinks it's about going on the show, we stop them. So Arsenal, I think they're going to really double die, and they would have if they didn't meet Manchester United, and we stopped them. Liverpool, if I want to be very honest, this is Liverpool team, obviously. I mean, like everybody say, they are 6 for me, and this is the reason why. They've been exceptional. But their performances in the cup competitions has been very, very underwhelming. Whether the manager tried to throw it away, that's fine. That's his choice. Or whether he says he doesn't have enough depth, that's fine. It's just been very underwhelming. They went out second round Champions League. Yeah, they were kind of unlucky. I watched that game. I remember. I even said they were very unlucky in that game. But the facts are they went out in second round and went out quarterfinal. Was that quarterfinal to Chelsea? That was only like 5th round. Like they were too underwhelming in the cup competitions. And those things matter to me. And I know if you want to use strictly EPL, you can say, oh, let's forget about the cup competitions matter because that's the same thing of playing all those
They
cup
should not have
competitions.
said best teams. The question should have said what are the best teams in this season. Not don't be shifting post and say
No, but they're EPL teams, they're English teams though. They're English teams playing in Premier League and they're playing.
Let's say what were the best winning.
Yeah, I would not have considered these other cups.
Oh, okay. I do when I judge teams.
But yeah.
If you're saying EPL, then we just if we're talking about cups, of course, then we'll talk about treble winners. United's treble winners, of course, had the best season. They went Champions League, FA Cup. If you're talking about the best winning seasons by any of these teams, then United will be number one. But we're talking about best EPL teams. That's why we're talking about Man City's 100 points. You know, all these United won treble. They won 3 cups. Who has not won 3 cups? Liverpool have done it. Man City have done it. Man City won 3 trophies last season.
That's why we call it the unique treble. They call it the unique. It's
still a treble.
Any 3 trophies are trebles.
Unique treble.
Treble. Liverpool said we have 3 trophies this season. 3 trophies this season. We do. We have 3 trophies this season.
Super Cup. European friendly.
So what?
And intercontinental friendly.
Friendly. We play penalty shootout 2 hours. 2 hours penalty shootout before we could win it.
You have to make it look like it matters. You have to play penalty too. Okay.
So, Invincible's number 5. Wow.
Yes. I put that number 5.
No one will agree with you on that.
That's why I'm a unicorn. My football opinions are usually I'm a unicorn. I always call it earlier. People later catch on. So I'm fine with that. I call things real early, then people catch on later. I remember when I told you about your manager. I said your manager is a good manager. He just needs to stay. I remember calling it early when all of you were like,
You told me, or I told you.
No, I told you. Remember we had this conversation in January.
No, which manager? Arteta?
Yeah, Arteta.
But remember, I also signed on to I joined the bandwagon of Arteta the day he did his interview. I don't think you had been earlier than that. But you're coming from more technical. Yeah, you came from a more technical part. Yeah. I agree.
Yeah. So we go to EPL. Now we've spent so much time but this has been fun. If you're watching this, you like our content, please leave us a like, follow, subscribe on all our platforms. So I'll stay with EeJay. I'm sure you have a list written out, right? So tell us top 60 with points, with points. And I can tell you the points now so that you can add it because to be fair, I've not done mine too, so I'll use that advantage to do mine now. So obviously we know 1 and 2, so let's just start from 3. Let's just skip. Liverpool, Man City. So who's your number 3?
3, I believe, will be Chelsea. Chelsea is currently I think they're on 63 points.
Correct.
Their goal difference is probably the lowest amongst the top 5. Let's call it the top 5 right now.
Correct. Yeah.
And I know you're talking about top 6, but it's better for me to think about 5, and then I'll go to 6 and 7.
Yeah.
So they're the lowest number. I think they're right at 15. They have 2 games left to play, and those games are against who?
They went to Liverpool.
And so 2 tough games, I think.
Yes, home to Wolves.
And those, so 2 tough games, but people have been claiming that Liverpool are donating points, which I don't agree with. I think Arsenal beats Liverpool fair and square. I think Liverpool, they're going to give Chelsea a run for their money. I don't think it's going to be a walk in the park. So I think they have the toughest run, but because they're at 63 points, they have a tiny bit of cushion.
Correct.
Compared to I think they will finish 3rd. Now, Leicester is 4th. Leicester is hanging.
So what points do you think? Because
I think they'll get 3 points, and they'll still get to 66.
Okay.
At least 3 points from 2 games.
Okay.
At least. I think they'll win 1, lose 1.
Leicester
hanging on by thread, and that thread became a strand today when they lost 3-0 and erased the goal difference that they had ahead of United. Now they need United to lose to remind me who United is playing on Tuesday.
West
They need
Ham
to lose to West Ham, which you wouldn't say is impossible, but because they're at home, you have to give United that advantage. So I don't see United losing on Wednesday to West Ham. And so that gives them 3 points. Now still, that strand becomes like a hair because on Sunday they play Leicester.
Correct.
And Leicester has the chance. They're at home. They have the chance to, erase whatever goal difference that United gets with West Ham. Maybe make it an interesting last day. I think that's possible because they really have only one game left. That's their last hurrah to get into top 4. They have undoubtedly need to beat United on the last day.
Right.
Now, will that happen? My answer is no. They're not going to beat United mid-draw, but they're not just. I don't trust them to do it, and that's because the way I saw them lose today, they're going like we should have beaten them. I think Arsenal should have beaten them. That would have probably just taken them out of the top contention. So I think they will be the ones that are out, and I think United goes up. I think United probably wins and draws, and so now we're talking about 4 extra points, probably get to 66. Ooh, does that put them with?
Correct.
Oh,
that puts us third. Yeah, that puts us
that
third.
puts them third. So that means that United, they may finish third, and then Chelsea finishes fourth on goal difference. That would be goal difference. And then you have Leicester at 5. Tottenham can't. I don't think Tottenham can do anything to get more than fifth spot. Because no, 6th. Am I saying that right? Because Tottenham is currently at 58. You only have one game left. You get to 61 case scenario. So they finish 5th or 6th, 6th or 7th, I think. And then Wolves has. I already think Wolves will probably lose to Chelsea on their last game. Maybe beat Everton, gives them 3 extra points. So what's their points now?
56.
63, so 59. I think that means they finished 7th. So 59 for them. Tottenham probably wins their last game, 61. Chelsea, Leicester comes in 5. Chelsea 4th, United 3, which goes against every way I feel pushing United up top, closer to the top 2 and making them feel like they had a good season.
It's okay. It's okay. Old allegiances will always come through. It's okay. You're a United fan. Everybody knows that. It's not a secret now.
That's a secret.
Yeah, exactly. You've done your coming out party a long time ago, so we know it's okay. You have a soft spot for us. So, okay, relegation quickly. Who's going to get relegated? No need for points. Just tell me who relegated.
It's going to be. I'm pretty sure Bournemouth is going to go down. I don't see how they won't, because too many things have to happen for them to come out. So Bournemouth, Aston Villa, and Norwich, that's already relegated. I think Watford will sneak in. They have 2 more games. I think even if they lose both games, they probably still stay up.
Okay. Who's Bournemouth playing last? I don't even know.
They're playing. I can't remember. I saw it, and I saw that it would be hard for them to beat.
Yeah, I'm just going to go to the last place now. So, Ola, I'm going to come to you now. Before we come to you, let me look at the fixture.
Bournemouth are playing away to Everton.
Yeah,
Everton.
Yeah.
And Villa are playing away to West Ham, which it might still be up in the air at that point. Okay, so you want me to say my top 6, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, so top 6, we know who are the champions, so we'll leave that. We know who is second place, Pep Guardiola. So we leave that. Third place will be Man United, which I think I predicted at the beginning of the season, and somehow I managed. It seems like it's going to happen.
Oh, you did that? Beginning of the season?
I think I said United will finish in the top 4. Yeah,
I'm going to pull it up. Yeah, that trend.
I'll pull it up. I think so. You have been very pessimistic about United now. you think you guys are so bad, but I don't think so. We told you. Me and Bola told you that you guys are not as bad as you think. United are going to finish 3rd because United are going to beat West Ham, and United will beat Leicester. Leicester are gone. Leicester are terrible. United will finish on 60. United will finish on 68 points, so they will be in 3rd place. Chelsea will finish 4th, in my opinion. I think they might get a draw at Anfield. I think they will even be happy to get a draw. I think they'll just take their points, and go to the final game against Wolves. And even a draw might be enough against Wolves too. Yeah. They don't even have to beat Wolves. So I don't see Leicester beating Man U. Leicester are missing Soyuncu. They are missing Chilwell, their normal left back.
Their right back.
They are missing their right back, their normal right back.
Missing Madison.
They are missing Madison. They are not beating United. They are not beating.
I think Evans is out too, right?
Brighton is playing. They're missing Brighton. Yeah.
And we said this in a previous podcast. Their form since the beginning of this year has just been woeful. They can't turn it around. And today was the final straw. The fact that they even now lost by 3 goals and just wiped out their goals difference, forget about it. So Leicester, they're going to finish. Let me see, where did I put them? They're going to finish 5th. They're going to finish 5th, and then in 6th place will be Spurs Spurs have Crystal Palace away, and Crystal Palace basically are on the beach. They've signed out for the season. They've lost like 7 straight games since they came back. So Spurs will win that, and Spurs will finish on 61 points. Wolves, I think Wolves and Chelsea will draw. So I don't see Wolves overtaking Spurs. Sheffield United, it's too late. The highest they can finish on is 60 points. So the top 6 will just be Liverpool, Man City, United, Chelsea, Leicester City, and then Spurs. Okay. And bottom 3. Okay, and bottom 3, I agree with EeJay. I think the bottom 3 stays the way it is. The only snag for Watford is how angry are Man City for losing to Arsenal yesterday. That's the problem. Because Watford are playing Man City on Wednesday. So that's the snag. If Man City are angry, I'm like, okay, we have to take it out on you guys. And then they wipe their goals difference, because their goals difference is on minus 23 at the moment. And Bournemouth and Villa are on minus 27. So if they lose by 5 goals, their goals difference becomes worse than those guys. So the best thing they can do, based on the news today that they have even sacked their manager, which I think is crazy.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
I don't know why they're sacking him for 2 games to go. Maybe they want the new manager bounce. But if Watford get a point against City, they stay up. If they lose by a slim margin, they stay up. But if they lose by 4 or 5, they might be in trouble. But apart from that, I think the bottom 3 stays the way it is. Bournemouth are down. Norwich, bye-bye. Villa don't score enough goals anyway. And I don't think they are going to survive unless Watford lose by 5 or 6. So.
Okay. Dayo, run through it quickly for us.
I think I agree with everybody. Man U will win their next game.
You can't come up with your ideas. Why you agree with us? Come up with something.
I already wrote it down.
I'm just joking with you.
Man U is winning their next 2 games, so they're getting 6 points, so going to 68. Chelsea is only winning 1 game. They are losing to Liverpool. That's their final home game. That's when they'll be getting the trophy, and they lost to Arsenal already. So at least they want to salvage any little shame or pride left in them. That's if they have any shame.
Well done.
So
shameful champions.
Wow.
They'll beat Chelsea, but I think Chelsea will win against Wolves. I see Chelsea finishing with 66 points. Leicester is done. They've been done for a while. 0 points. So they'll end up at 62 where they are right now. Spurs will get another 3 points, so they'll end up at 61. And Wolves, 59 points. Bottom 3 will stay the same. I don't think anything will change.
Okay. So I'll start from EeJay. You said yours, right? Yeah, EeJay said that already. Yeah. I'll just run through mine quickly. I actually think bottom 3 will be where the change is going to be. I think Norwich, Villa, and Watford are going to go down because of Ola's thought process. I think Man City are going to destroy Watford like they always do in the next game because they're mad. Pep is angry, everybody's angry, and he wants to keep them firing until Champions League. He has 2 games left. He doesn't have the FA Cup again, so he's going to play full guns now. He's going all guns blazing because I remember him saying he wanted that FA Cup as their tune-up match a week for Real Madrid. That game is gone now. FA Cup final is gone now. So I think he's going to go all guns blazing. And guess who they play after that? They play Arsenal. No, Watford. I think Watford. They play Arsenal.
Watford
plays Arsenal on the last day. Yeah, on the last day. So I think Watford are going to lose those 2 games and possibly lose one very heavily and just lose to Arsenal, maybe 2-0. And I think Bournemouth will. And this is me now. So let me.
You're praying. I see.
This is me. This is my bias now. My Eddie Howe bias because I have a soft spot for Eddie Howe. I think Bournemouth will beat Everton on the final day. That's what I think. I think they'll put a surprise win and they'll just stay up by goal difference. Oh my goodness.
That's the best way to stay up.
Wishful thinking. But that's what I think will happen. I think Bournemouth will beat Everton on the final day, and I think Watford will lose their next 2 games. So I think Watford, Norwich, and Villa will go down. Yeah, Villa don't have enough goals, so I think they will lose their 2 games because they are playing West Ham maybe on the final day. They are playing Arsenal next. They will lose their next 2 games. And I want Watford to go down, especially because of what I heard today. That's a crazy decision. So the number 3 to 6, I think Chelsea will actually come third. I think they will draw with Liverpool and they will beat Wolves, so they will end up on 67. I think Manchester United comes fourth because I actually have the feeling that we will draw on Wednesday.
David Moyes, the
Yes.
genius.
It's going to come with I'm going to spoil your party. I feel like we draw on Wednesday. Then when the pressure is now on us, we will go and beat Leicester because they've imploded. Those guys have imploded, in my opinion. So Leicester is going to come fifth, and I think Tottenham. Yes, I agree. Tottenham Harry Kane is back to shooting from center circle form. Once Harry Kane gets in that mood, you know it's over. And they're playing Crystal Palace their last game, so Crystal Palace look terrible. They just give up chances anyhow. So yeah, Harry Kane is going to go ham. Probably try to see if he can win Golden Boot on that day. I score 5 goals. He'll be shooting from everywhere. So I think, yeah, I agree with you. Spurs will come 6th, Leicester 5th, Chelsea 3rd, Man United 4th. So I think we've come to the end of this. This has been fun. This is a long one. EeJay is going to have fun with it.
That's okay. At least I was here for this one.
Yeah. It was fun. Thanks for coming, guys. If you like our content, check out at the end of the podcast. All our social media handles will be there. Ola, as always, have a good time. Dayo, thanks for coming. And like I told you, this is the last time you're coming. We're not putting Manchester United on the top 5. I'm just messing with you. I knew that was biased in my opinion. I just went to be biased. Every time people blame me for being too logical. So I'm like, nah, today I'm going to be biased.